The dream your parents sold you is dead. The life you're living is wrong. And the system that told you work hard and you'll succeed was designed to destroy you. I'm about to ask you 3 questions. If you answer yes to even one of them, this video is for you. Question number 1. Could your parents run a household on 1 income while you can't make ends meet with 2? Question number 2. Is your job the kind that could disappear overnight without warning? Question number 3. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night wondering, is this all there is? If you answered yes to any of these questions, don't click away, because I'm about to tell you something that could change everything. I'm going to tell you a number, 30,000. Every single day, 30,000 Americans fall out of the middle class. Every single day. A job lost, a business closed, a divorce, a medical emergency, a mortgage defaulted. 30,000 people every day. And here's the terrifying part. 40% of those 30,000 people never recover. Once they fall, they stay down. Do you know who could be one of those 30,000? You, me, any of us. Let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah is 45 years old. She's a mid-level manager at a tech company. She makes $85,000 a year. She has a house, a car, 2 kids, a husband. One morning, Sarah goes to work like any other day. Her boss calls her into his office. He says, "Sarah, we're restructuring the company. Your position is being eliminated." Sarah's eyes fill with tears. She asks, "Why?" Her boss says, "We're using AI now. Your job can be done by software." Sarah has worked at this company for 20 years. 20 years. And the reward for 20 years of loyalty? Losing her job in a 5-minute conversation. Sarah is now sitting at home. In front of her is a stack of bills, the mortgage, her kids' college fund, credit card debt. She's thinking, what do I do now? Sarah's story is not unique. It's the story of 30,000 Americans every single day, and it could be your story too. Now, I'm going to show you some numbers. But these numbers aren't just statistics. They're the story of your life. From 1973 to 2024, 50 years. American productivity increased by 81%, but hourly wages increased by only 15%. Where did that gap go? 58% of all productivity gains went to the top 1%. Let me put this in human terms. In 1970, a factory worker kept 64% of what they produced. The company took 36%. In 2024, you do the same work. You keep only 56%. The company takes 44%. You're getting 8% less every hour. And over 50 years, that 8% has accumulated into a $50 trillion wealth gap. And your costs? Wages went up 15%. Rent went up 300%. Food went up 250%. Healthcare went up 500%. Education went up 400%. This gap is what's destroying your life. Let me tell you about Mark. Mark is 52 years old. He worked at an auto parts factory for 30 years. Good pay, union, pension. In 2020, the company announced the factory was closing, moving to Mexico. Mark had shown up at 6 a.m. every day for 30 years. 30 years. And the reward for 30 years of loyalty? Your job is gone. Mark is now at home. He's 52 years old. Who's going to hire a 52-year-old factory worker? Mark said. I thought I was secure. I thought 30 years of loyalty meant something. Mark's story is not unique. Between 2000 and 2024, America lost 5 million manufacturing jobs. 5 million. And where are those 5 million people? They fell out of the middle class. And Mark could be your father, your uncle, your neighbor. Now I'm going to tell you a secret that could have saved Mark, but nobody told him. Harvard sociologist Katherine S. Newman spent years studying what happens when middle-class Americans lose their footing. In her groundbreaking book, Falling from Grace, she followed families who did everything they were told to do. They worked hard. They built careers. They bought homes. They believed they had made it. Then, almost overnight, layoffs, plant closures, corporate mergers, or family crises changed everything. Newman discovered something deeply unsettling. Downward mobility doesn't happen only during recessions. It can happen even when the broader economy appears healthy. In her words, downward mobility persists, even in times of prosperity. That single sentence challenges one of the biggest myths about modern America. Many people assume that if someone falls behind financially, they must have made poor decisions or simply didn't work hard enough. But Newman's research paints a far more complicated picture. Many families weren't failing because they lacked ambition. They were caught in forces much larger than themselves: economic restructuring, disappearing industries, and changing labor markets. The tragedy wasn't only financial, it was psychological. When people lose jobs they believed would last a lifetime, many don't blame the economy, they blame themselves. They question their intelligence, their value, and their worth. Yet often, the system around them has changed faster than they could adapt. Another researcher, Harvard political scientist Robert Putnam, looked at a different problem, one that may explain why so many Americans feel increasingly isolated. In his influential book Bowling Alone, Putnam documented a long-term decline in what he called social capital, the networks of trust, friendship, and community that help people support one another. Americans gradually became less involved in neighborhood groups, civic organizations, local clubs, and even informal gatherings with friends and neighbors. The result wasn't just fewer community meetings. It was a weakening of the social fabric that had once helped families weather difficult times. Putnam argued that communities with stronger social connections often experience better economic outcomes, better health, and greater resilience during hardship. When people know each other, they share information about jobs, support families during crises, and create opportunities that no individual could create alone. As these connections weaken, many people face life's challenges increasingly on their own. At the same time, researchers across multiple fields have documented rising concerns about loneliness, stress, and mental health in many parts of American society. While the causes are complex, fewer social connections can make financial hardship feel even more overwhelming. Consider someone like Jack. He's not one specific person, but a story that reflects the experiences of many workers across America. Jack spent more than 20 years building a career. He earned a solid income, owned a home, raised children, and believed loyalty would provide security. Then, his company restructured. His position disappeared. After months of searching, he discovered that experience alone no longer guaranteed opportunity. Industries had changed. Hiring practices had changed. Technology had changed. Eventually, he accepted work that paid far less than his previous job. The hardest part wasn't only the loss of income. It was the feeling that everything he had built could disappear despite doing everything he thought was right. When people like Jack struggle, they don't just need another paycheck. They often need guidance, encouragement, professional networks, and communities that remind them they are not facing these challenges alone. So where does that leave us? First, recognize that your paycheck is one of your most valuable assets, and protecting your ability to earn matters just as much as protecting your savings. Second, accept that today's economy rewards continuous learning. Skills that were valuable 10 years ago may not be enough 10 years from now. Third, invest in relationships as seriously as you invest in your career. Professional networks, local communities, mentors, and trusted friends often become lifelines during difficult periods. Fourth, improve your financial literacy. Understanding inflation, taxes, retirement accounts, investing, and debt gives you more control over decisions that shape your future. Knowledge doesn't eliminate risk, but it helps you respond more effectively when circumstances change. Finally, take action before a crisis forces you to. Build an emergency fund, reduce high-interest debt, diversify your income when possible, and continue developing skills that remain valuable in a changing economy. Before you leave, I'd like to ask you something. Over the past 5 years, what has become the hardest expense for your family to manage? Housing? Healthcare? Groceries? Childcare? Insurance? Share your experience in the comments. Your story may help someone else realize they aren't facing these challenges alone. Conversations build awareness. Awareness builds communities, and communities help people navigate change together. History reminds us that lasting change rarely begins with one individual acting alone. It grows when ordinary people share knowledge, support one another, and work toward common goals. Economic systems evolve. Communities evolve, and the people who understand those changes and adapt together are often the ones who build a stronger future. The American dream has changed, but history suggests it has never been completely out of reach for those willing to learn, adapt, and help each other along the way. The question isn't whether the world is changing. It always has. The real question is this: will you understand the new rules before they shape your future?